How to stop your budgie from laying eggs? In order to answer this question, we need to understand how and when do they lay eggs. It's important to understand that laying eggs is not a conscious decision, rather it's a biological one. Meaning, when the environment they live in signals to the bird to reproduce. In the wild, budgies have to face a trade-off when breeding. Their energy and means of survival versus reproducing and let their genes continue on. Because breeding takes off a lot of energy out of your bird. So in order to stop the egg laying, we don't want to provide our birds with breeding environment. Let's see how. Starting with the breeding box. Obviously, you should not have a breeding nest box in your cage if you don't want your parakeet to lay eggs. So if you have one, the first step you should make is removing it from the cage. However, if your budgie already laid an egg or two, you don't want to remove it suddenly like that. You want to wait for the whole clutch of eggs to finish. Otherwise, you might run the risk of egg binding, which is a very serious condition where the egg gets stuck inside your bird and it could be deadly. Or, she could lay eggs and let it break on the bottom of the cage. So to prevent that, the best way to go about it is adding some fake eggs to the nest box, so your bird finds a lot of eggs to sit on and stop her from laying anymore. I'll keep a link in the description. Although, she could lay an egg or two after you add the fake eggs, but this should let her know there are enough eggs and no more needed. Then, when she sits on them, let her, give her time, so she loses interest. And when she does, after 3 or 4 weeks, then you remove the nest, so she doesn't start laying eggs again. You want to make sure nothing resembles the nest box. It could be any dark place she can get in. Or even, if you find your bird laying eggs inside the food bowl, then maybe you should get a different one, where it is not a comfortable place for her to lay her eggs there. Also, if you don't pair her with someone, if you don't give her a mate, that helps as well. Because when she has a mate, obviously they might make their ritual sexy dance and keep on laying. Another reason pet birds lay eggs is our artificial lighting. Unfortunately, we always have lights in the house during the night, which makes her think the day is long. And it is one of the factors that induce her biological cycle to lay eggs. When it's dark, let her sleep. If it means you have to cover the cage or make sure wherever her cage is, there are no artificial lighting. Because longer nights indicate winter, while longer days and light indicates summer and breeding. Another thing you can do is adding toys. Chewing and foraging toys are very good to keep her busy and playful. However, you should avoid any toy that she's emotionally attached to, as that might trigger breeding behavior for her. And of course, it goes without saying any toy that have any relation to nesting materials, because that will trigger breeding as well and set her up in the mood. You can rearrange the inside of the cage as well. It helps appearing as a slightly new environment. If you watched my video about how to breed, I tell how you should leave the cage at the same location so your birds get comfortable. But in this situation, where we are trying to prevent egg laying, it's a good idea to change the cage's place as well. Try not to touch your bird below the neck. Touching your bird at her lower back or abdominal area can trigger hormonal response. The diet is pretty important as well. You should give her a variety of vegetables and leafy greens. Seed mix alone has a lot of fat, which is very good for breeding, and a lot of calories. And it is considered to be warm food, meaning it is easy to regurgitate to the chicks. while veggies, for example, are not as easy to regurgitate because they are colder and they don't include fat and calories as much as seeds do. And finally, if you have done everything and your bird isn't stopping and keeps on laying eggs, then it is best to go to your avian vet. In certain cases of excessive egg laying, your veterinarian may recommend hormone injections in addition to the environmental and dietary changes. Hormone injections are relatively safe and can help reduce egg laying in some birds. For more about budgies, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are watching this video from YouTube and hit the bell icon to get notified when the next video is up. Or like the Facebook page if you are watching this video from Facebook.